Commander Smith. He's in charge of investigations for the St. Joseph Police Department. You all know Captain Wilson as our public information officer and patrol captain, and Commander Eric Protzman, who is our patrol commander. They're joining me today because we want to deliver a message. Anytime we talk about crime, as you know, there's good things that are going on and bad things that are going on, and there's some trends in August that are very encouraging. But there's an area that we really are continuing to have a problem with this year, and that's related to firearms. When it comes to shots fired calls, the first 8 months of last year, we responded to about 540 shots fired calls. The first 8 months of this year, we've responded to 681. Now, some of those calls turn out to be cars backfiring or fireworks, but the vast majority of them do involve actual shots fired. So over the past year, we have seen an increase in shots fired. And again, this past weekend, we saw several incidents involving shots fired. And I don't think it's really any coincidence when we look back at the reckless use of firearms and a trend increasing. And this year, we now have a law that allows anyone to carry a concealed weapon without any training at all. So I don't think that's a good thing. But what we need to do is we need to make sure that we don't have a casual attitude involving firearms. We need to fight that casual attitude involving firearms. It's not okay to practice shooting by shooting out the window of a moving vehicle. That's what firing ranges are for. It's not acceptable to shoot guns off because someone's mad at their boyfriend or girlfriend when they go out there. It's not okay for them to use that to intimidate or harass somebody. In nearly every case that we've run into, the victims and suspects have previous involvement with each other, frequently related to criminal behavior. We're not seeing much in the way of random shooting, but we are very concerned about non-involved citizens, their property being shot up or their cars being shot up, and the risks that this poses to the general public. Oftentimes we're told by a victim they do not know who the suspect is. Then we find out the names through some friend of theirs, and we find out that the victim has told everybody else who the suspect is but the police. Regardless, we want you to know that we will continue to pursue these cases with or without the cooperation of victims. We do need cooperation and support from the community in these cases. These are very difficult to prosecute. We know who most of the players are. Frequently, they've had numerous contacts with law enforcement. Most of them we've arrested before. And we are continuing to target both locations where we're having problems, as well as people that we know to be involved in criminal behavior. The specific players, if we cannot make the shooting case, we will continue to pursue other criminal involvement that they're involved in. There's something that is also important. I think it's important that our youth understand that this is not a game and that life is precious. Whether it's a youthful offender or an adult, they need to be held accountable for these actions. So what we ask you, if we know somebody, whether it's a friend, a neighbor, a family member, that is involved in this behavior, that is involved with firearms, that are leaving their firearms available, let them know. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable in our city. This is behavior that we will not tolerate. It's behavior that our community needs to not tolerate. We encourage members of our community to get involved with neighborhood groups. We put various meetings out on our Facebook page. We encourage you to follow Facebook, as well as our Nixle notification. We're going to continue to put more and more information out there so that our citizens know what we're doing, can see that the arrests are taking place, and the status of crime. For those who aren't as comfortable as coming forward, there is Crime Stoppers. So please don't hesitate to call the TIPS hotline at 238-TIPS. And we also want to remind people that sometimes they put things on Facebook. It's more helpful to us if you contact us directly. If we have to go through someone's Facebook page to find information, that's very difficult. So if you have that information, please contact us. If you're concerned about contacting us, do it anonymously through the TIPS hotline. At this point, I'll take a couple of questions.
Do you think any of this is gang-related, or what do you see overall right now?
There's specific individuals that are involved, and we've always had some gang-related issues. Some are gang-related, some are not. In just about all the cases, we've identified specific perpetrators that are involved, and we're going to continue to go after them. And something that we have been doing, and we've been working with the Strike Force, ATF, other law enforcement agencies. We've been really going after serving a lot of our warrants as well. When we get a warrant on one of these folks, we get out there, we pick them up. So we're getting a lot of people off the street in a lot of different areas. But as you could see by this weekend, we still have a significant problem.
So you said that some of these shots fired calls are not actual shots fired. For residents that hear a loud noise, is it
Anyway?
By all means, call it in.
If you don't know?
By all means, we want to go out. We want to find out. We want to find out if anything was hit. We look for shell casings. We gather that evidence. Like I said, the vast majority of them actually are shots fired. You do have some cases where there's recently some schools locked down that turned out to be car backfiring. We love to go out there and find that out. That's always good news. But yeah, if you think you've heard something, absolutely report it to us.
Is there a certain area that you've noticed more in than others?
Well, it's somewhat spread out, but we have had a lot of activity in the Midtown area lately. So we are doing some extra focus. Like I said, we're focusing on both locations where we're seeing the behavior, as well as individuals that we know that are involved in the behavior. And we do receive quite a bit of information that helps guide us that direction. We also, when we look at different crimes, we also look at, we have some ability to do some predictive analysis. So we also do some predictive analysis, not just based on trends, but also some of the common sense predictable analysis based on known associates and involvements.
And again, you talked about this earlier, but why is it so important that people report these suspects if they know where they are?
Well, there again, it's important for us to know where they're at, and if we have charges or investigative charges, we want to pick these folks up. We want to arrest them. We want to get them off the street.
How many officers do you have on staff right now during an average day?
An average day, sometimes we'll have as many as 14. If we're running short, we'll go as low as 9 before we bring additional people on. But most of the time, we have around 12 officers on most of the busier nights.
Did you have to call any extra in over the weekend?
We had some people that came in early, which isn't unusual. When things get real busy on one shift, we'll call them to come in early. So yeah, we did have some come in. I know I came in to help out because we're a little bit busy and just doing what we can to help those officers out when we get call driven.
Do you have any numbers? How many open cases as far as shots fired or shootings do you have for the year?
Well, I mentioned the numbers on the shots fired, and these numbers on shots fired, those are the ones that come in on CAD, not necessarily, like I said, they're not exact numbers, but 681 so far this year compared to 529 last year. Last year, about 55 during that period of time actually hit something, car, house, or person. This year, we're up around 90 where it's hit a car, house, or person. Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Okay.